We back. And we doing another reaction. This time we're doing the Mr. Nightmare. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe and turn on the post notification bell if you haven't already. You know, you don't want to miss out on that.
Nestled in its own private section of woods.
Let me rewind a little bit.
It was almost a decade ago. I was in the Adirondack Mountains for a hiking and skiing trip. I rented an Airbnb cabin for the week, kind of nestled in its own private section of woods.
Okay.
Perfect for skiers and hikers.
Okay.
Though there was news of an incoming blizzard all of a sudden one day that week.
Get the fuck out of there.
I wasn't just going to cut my trip 3 days short, though, and I already paid for it. I think it was a Friday, I don't remember. But I woke up that morning to knocks at the front door of my cabin. I looked out the window in my bedroom, and I was greeted with nothing but white sheets of snow covering everything, with heavy snow still piling on. I looked to the front door, and there was this woman in a parka who looked rather distressed.
What the fuck is a parka?
I quickly threw on a change of clothes and opened the door. She was some 40-something-year-old woman. Her cheeks were red, and she looked freezing. She asked, in I guess as polite way as possible, if she could seek shelter here until the storm blew over.
And I'm gonna tell you in the most polite way as possible. Fuck no.
I figured it was the gentleman thing to do. So I invited her in and told her to make herself comfortable while I heated up some coffee. She plopped herself down on the couch and asked if I lived here. I told her it was just an Airbnb, then asked where she was coming from. She said she also rented an Airbnb up here, but she got caught in the blizzard and couldn't find her way back.
It's her fault.
She said her name was Meredith. I handed her a cup of coffee, but she refused it and said she was really tired. Then she asked if she could just rest on the couch.
Better be
I allowed it, though, as I ate my...
Dude, if I have a random ass motherfucker coming into my house, you better believe I'm gonna be watching their ass the whole time they're in there. Like, you gotta be so stupid to think that you're not. I mean, man, if you got someone in your house, you have to be watching them at all times. It's like you turn your back for a second, they're gonna, you're gonna steal shit. And next thing you know, you're gonna be missing a lot of freaking valuable items. So let's go.
Breakfast. I can't lie, I felt really awkward. I didn't really know what to do after my breakfast. I didn't feel comfortable just hanging in the living room kitchen area, so I went back to my room to watch TV. The snow was really coming down outside, and the wind was so aggressive that the whistling streaked through the windows. Not too long after, another knock at the door. I once again looked out the window. This time there was a man outside. I went to open the door, with Meredith now sitting up on the couch, asking who it was. I told her I don't know. Then I opened the door. It was like deja vu because the man basically gave the same story, that he was caught in the blizzard and needed a place to stay.
Dude, you're kidding me, right? Like, you're telling me there's now a man. First there was a woman, now there's a man. It's probably a crazy couple. Like, you gotta be if you let him in, bro, you are stupid, to say the least.
At this point, having already let Meredith in, I had to let him in too.
No, you didn't.
I told him the same thing I told her. Make yourself comfortable. He introduced himself as Mark.
Make yourself comfortable and
Meredith
get the
and
fuck
Mark.
out.
They introduced themselves to each other as well, and they had a laugh at the fact that they were both in the same boat. Then they both kind of playfully praised me for letting them in. Meredith seemed more lively now, more open to conversation.
Hold on,
So we talked about a bunch of random stuff until there was... Seemed more lively now, more open to conversation.
Alright, we back. My bad. Sorry about that.
Conversation. So we talked about a bunch of random stuff until there was nothing really left to talk about.
Nothing you should be talking about to them.
The day dragged on.
Get them out.
It grew dark and cold inside the cabin. The snow was showing no signs of receding. I offered them whatever food was in the fridge throughout the day. Unfortunately for me, it seemed it was approaching that time that I had to designate where they would be sleeping.
Outside.
But Meredith kind of did that for me.
You know what, matter of fact, it's not your problem where they're going to be sleeping or not. It's their problem. You shouldn't be letting them sleep in their house. I mean, your house. You shouldn't be letting them sleep in your house, right? That's a stupid ass fucking decision. Like, you are dumb. Let's just say this. Stupid would be a compliment.
She asked if I would allow the two of them to stay here for the night. I had to say yes.
No, you
So
didn't.
they both slept on the couches.
No, the fuck you didn't. what you actually had to say was, get the fuck out right now before I light your ass up. That's what you more had to say.
I slept in my room, of course. I fell asleep rather easily, with the knowledge that my belongings were under my bed and couldn't be easily stolen by these two strangers. I'm
They
usually
got
a
the whole
heavy
rest of the
sleeper,
house.
but this night I woke up to a loud thump. I sat up. The door to my bedroom was open, and the sound of the outside wind was incredibly loud. I discovered the front door to the cabin was open too, and neither Meredith nor Mark were on the couch. I went out to the porch for a second, just to look into the woods. There were fresh-looking footsteps leading into the snow, and I could see Meredith just standing out there in the snow, facing me, holding what looked to be my travel bag. I yelled at her to come back here, along with a few choice words. I ran to my room to get my boots. As I rushed to put the boots on while on the couch, I noticed my bedroom door was now shut. I 100% did.
So that's Mark. Bro, it's a setup, dude. It is literally a freaking setup. Like, Meredith was out there as a distraction. He probably made like a thump to get you, look out the window. And now Mark's in there, fucking with your stuff. Like, bruh. You're screwed now, buddy. I don't know what to do in this situation. Like, screw the shit that you left behind or screw the shit that you needed to steal, bro. I'm getting the fuck out of there. It's either belongings or your life. So choose. You already made dumbass decisions, so I won't be surprised if you fuck this one up too. But let's go.
Not close that door. Was I about to open it? Hell no. Especially not
Good.
after I heard footsteps on the other side of the door.
Good.
I got my boots and coat on and ran to the front porch again. But now Meredith wasn't alone. Someone, a man, I couldn't tell if it was Mark or not.
Oh, so now you got a whole nother motherfucker. You got motherfucking Mark in the room, and you got a whole nother motherfucker that's with Meredith. That might not be her real name. For all we know, her name could be freaking Sarah. Her name could be freaking Alicia, bro. Her name could be freaking Mark. Her name could be freaking Mark. And Mark's name could be freaking Meredith. You don't freaking know. They've told you a bunch of bullshit, and you've bought it, so it's on you.
Standing next to her, holding her hand, and they were both facing the house. I didn't care about the bag anymore. I ran to my Jeep and drove through the 3 feet of snow. There had to be more than just those two people in the house that night, because someone else was in the bedroom. I was too nice. I let my guard down with two strangers, and I paid the price.
You did.
I'm just happy they didn't kill me, though.
Hell,
Somehow
you
I
did
got the
pay the
vibe they were
price.
trying to do more than
You
just
did
rob
pay
me
the
of
price,
my
bro.
bag.
That is facts.
Life.
Story number 2. Let's get it. Yes, I switched
My
locations
older
again.
brother and I used to love to play out in the snow. We lived by the woods. I'm not giving my town or state or any other details of our location, though.
Okay, smart
One
start.
night, our parents let us go outside to play in the blizzard. We figured playing hide and seek would be fun since the footprints in the snow would create a new factor in the game. So I was the one hiding first.
Yeah, that's all fun and games till you see a pair of footprints that you don't recognize. Then you're fucked.
We were playing in the woods with flashlights. I turned mine off once I found a place to hide, just to not give away my location. I ducked down in the deep snow between two big trees. I tried covering my tracks in the snow, but I couldn't possibly get all of them. I saw my brother's flashlight in the distance, coming in my direction. He was definitely going to find me, so I ran in the dark deeper into the woods. I definitely lost him because I didn't see his light anymore, or maybe he turned it off. Also, we knew these woods, and I knew which direction I was going. I wasn't going to get lost. Eventually, as I kept walking, though, I found another trail of footprints. They seemed like they were left there only a few minutes ago, so I started following them, expecting to find a deer at the end.
I don't think that's your brother.
As the footprints became more fresh, however, I started to realize they were boot prints, not animal footprints. This also meant I was getting closer to whoever just left these boot prints. I was thinking at first that it was my brother.
Why don't you think of a crazy idea? Like, maybe don't follow them. Because if it's not your brother, and you end up with some weird-ass motherfucker that's just randomly walking in the woods at night, that is probably a situation you do not want to be in. So, maybe don't. Just a suggestion, If you want to go fuck yourself over, be my guest, but think about it.
Maybe he ran past me without me hearing it.
Ta-
I only thought that because I didn't see how or why anyone else would be out here in the middle of a blizzard.
Yeah.
With my light still on, I noticed something black sticking out of this big pile of snow, which seemed to sit right next to the boot marks. I stopped and examined it, and brushed some of the snow off the object. I brushed enough snow off to realize it was a big black garbage bag. This didn't look good.
There's a
I
body.
already smelled something foul in there.
Yep, there's a body.
Garbage? That's what I was hoping for.
That's
I
garbage.
tried to find the opening of the bag.
Honestly, bro, if that's garbage, then then somebody's playing obviously a prank, because if you see a big ass garbage bag that's black, which means you obviously can't see through it, and there's a foul smell coming from it, then people might assume the worst and think it's a body, but it's obviously got to be some sort of prank to whoever is going to be finding it, because boy, you could scare the fuck out of someone with that.
And eventually just gave up and tore the bag open with my nails. I gagged the instant I saw what was inside. A decomposing human body. When I say gagged, I'm talking coughing loudly and uncontrollably in shock and disgust. And I think that gave away my position to my brother, because pretty soon his light started shining on me. I turned to him, his light in my face, and made a hand motion signaling for him to run, like go home. Right?
I thought you were about to say, listen, I thought you were about to say that you were making a hand signaling motion for him to come over. And I was about to say, boy, you were stupid. You are hecka stupid if you were about to do that. But let me not make, predictions, or let me not make inferences that didn't happen. Okay, I'm not gonna be criticizing. I'm gonna try to not criticize. When I watch these things, when I watch these horror videos, I usually tend to criticize, and I'm really going to try not to, because I know it could be annoying for some of you guys, but I swear the people in these situations just make the dumbest shit. If you've seen horror movies, you know what I mean. Even in these horror videos, you know what I mean. Some people make some dumbass decisions, like going to investigate when they see something, or they see someone suspicious and they go to investigate. No, you don't fucking go investigate. You get the hell out of there. Right? If you see something that's not supposed to be there, or someone that's not supposed to be there, you don't fucking investigate. You're not like a fucking... You might seem cool in front of your freaking girlfriend or something, but just because you think you're, all a tough guy all of a sudden, and you see some fucking... And next thing you know, you're going to be face to face with a killer. And whose fault is it going to be? Yours. Right? You're not a fucking police officer. You're not a fucking detective. You're not a fucking Navy SEAL. Okay? You don't need to flex on us. We don't really give a shit. Okay, you don't need to go investigate, but we'll continue.
So he was confused and kept approaching me, so I ran to him and told him to turn off his flashlight.
Fucking leave him. Let him see for himself.
I pointed at the bag and whispered what was inside. He didn't believe me, even after I begged him to just go home with me.
Leave him, bro.
He went to the bag to see for
Once
himself,
again.
and when he saw I wasn't lying, he put his hand over his mouth. As the older brother, he started guiding me and nudging me back to the house, trying not to make a sound. Though, as we moved, we kept looking back, thinking we heard footsteps in the snow behind us. We moved faster every time. He had to keep the flashlight on, otherwise it would be pitch black. Then, I think at the same time, we both looked back after hearing a footstep again, and saw about 50 feet away or so, there was someone standing there, right in the light of my brother's flashlight, watching. From there, we ran all the way back home. The man yelled something at us, but neither of us could make out what he said. We got back to the house 2 minutes later and told our parents, who called the police to report the dead body. The police came and asked us a bunch of...
He was probably the killer, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, because, yeah, I know it might have took me a long time to... I know you might be thinking it took me a long time to figure that out, if I'm now just thinking about it, but there could also be a logical explanation to that. Maybe he was the killer, not his victim, but maybe he knew someone of the victim, he was calling for help, but that would be complete bullshit, because why would he call 2 freaking 7 or 8 year olds for help? Or however old these kids are. I don't really know. I don't remember what they said, but whatever. Let's play.
Questions. And they sent out a search team based on our description of the location. They didn't make us go back out there. The search turned up no results, but they resumed the next day in the daylight, which was when we were asked for assistance in retracing our steps. We did the best we could, but the body was never found. It wouldn't be much of a surprise if whoever was out there moved the body after realizing there were 2 witnesses.
Yeah.
We were literally just little kids when this happened, and we were still being followed by possibly the person who hid that body there to begin with.
Most likely the person.
I still wonder if we just narrowly escaped with our lives.
You did. I think you probably did.
It started on the night of the first snowstorm of the year. I was off the next day for work, so I was just relaxing in my bed watching a movie, drinking hot cocoa. All of a sudden, something hit my window that nearly gave me a heart attack. I looked at my window and saw the fresh mark of a snowball having just splattered over the glass.
Ha!
I opened the window to look outside.
Oh my gosh. Dude, I would honestly, if I heard that at my window, which hopefully I don't, but if I did, that would probably, like as he said, give me a heart attack, and I would probably be laughing so hard when I found out that was a snowball. It's probably some, neighbor messing with me. But let's continue.
And I heard a kid's laughter.
Ha! It's a kid laugh.
That answered that.
It's a kid
I
laugh.
closed the window again, and my attention shifted back to the movie. Not too long before a second pow at the window, followed by the kid's laughter. This time I ignored it. I knew that by giving the kid a reaction, they would keep going.
Yeah.
Apparently that worked, because no more snowballs were thrown at my window.
Let me also say this: if you're the person that's watching the TV, or you're in the guy's situation and you hear the kid throwing snowballs at your window, you do not want to give a reaction, because there could be many real possibilities. He could be filming a YouTube video with his friends, in which, in that case, your reaction will not only be publicized, but it'll be fed in, so meaning like they might do continuous pranks on you. It's not something you want to have happen. Second possibility is that it's just an absolute creep and it's not a kid, and it's somebody pretending to be a kid, which that would probably be the worst scenario out of the two. But, well, I guess we'll find out. Just don't have it be the second, all right? If it's not the second, it's probably fine.
No, that night. The next night, though, it happened again. This time while I was asleep.
Okay, now they're
I
fucking
woke up
around.
to a much louder and more ferocious...
Let me say this once again. Or, not once again, but for the first time. If you fool me once with it, shame on me. Fool me twice, now, shame on you. Right? Now you're fucking around. 3 times, it's just getting freaking straight out annoying, alright? It goes from, a joke to a prank to, just, being fucking an ass, a dick. You're being a fucking dick wipe. That's what you're being. You don't want to be a fucking dick wipe, so.
Bang at the window from a snowball. I opened the window and took a look outside. Though it wasn't snowing anymore, I still couldn't see too far out onto the lawn. Though I did hear the laughing of the kid again. It was a boy's laughter. It sounded like a 10-year-old. I yelled something out the window at him. I think it was a threat, but nothing too serious to be directed at a child.
Ha!
It didn't happen again.
Yeah, I was about to say, who knows what the laws and, federal penalties are these days with, threatening kids. Because I definitely know, I do know for a fact it ain't pretty.
That night. The next day, a lot of the snow had melted, but most of the ground was still covered in a white sheet. After turning off my light in my room, I lay awake, anticipating and dreading the sound of a snowball hitting the glass that would once again make me jump out of my skin. And just like clockwork, it happened. That goddamn kid was back. I was ready this time. I jumped out of bed and looked out the window.
Where's this kid's parents?
This time.
Dude, if your kid is freaking out at like 10 o'clock at night, or whatever time it is, late at night, when somebody is going to bed and she's just fucking around with, a neighbor or whoever, you gotta be some fucking irresponsible drug addict, drug addicted, alcoholic parent, whatever. You have your own issues, but man, that's yikes. Bro, you gotta be a better parent, bro. I know I'm not a fucking parent. I may never, gosh dang, I can't freaking talk. I may never be, but let's just hope that this so-called parent figures out the situation with their child, because right now he's fucking around. not too good.
I saw just for maybe half a second the back of a kid running away into the darkness. I threw on my shoes and coat and ran outside to find him. I found where his footsteps started at my window, and I followed them. I ran as fast as I could, trying to catch up to him. His footprints led me down a grass field until I reached a road. The footprints stopped at a big sycamore tree. Wrapped around it were 2 white bands of flowers. There was also a wooden cross planted in front of the tree. It was a memorial for a fatal car crash here.
It's kind of random.
I double and then triple checked to see if the footsteps went any other direction, but they mysteriously stopped right there.
And I would say that maybe it's the kid, but if he sees footprints imprinted in the snow, it's unlikely because I don't think, I may be mistaken, but it's unlikely that there's it's the kid. If there's footprints, meaning like he left tracks, that I don't think that would be possible. But I don't know, I'm not a fucking math teacher.
I walked back home and went to bed, a bit disturbed. The next day I did some research and inquired with some locals, and I found out a mother and her son died in a car crash running into that tree. When I learned this, I got goosebumps, but I didn't want to find out how old the son was. I couldn't bring myself to do it. God forbid the son was around 10 years old. I'd forever be haunted by this, even more so than I already am. The next night, I thought I heard a child's laughter outside my window, but it may have just been my imagination running wild. I had to take sleeping pills for a whole month, just so that I wouldn't be awake terrified all night.
Okay, so I think this is the end of it. Yeah. Okay, so let me start off by saying, rewind this a little bit. It's right here. Look, those are the so-called kids' footprints in the snow. So somebody explain to me how the kid left prints in the snow if he was a ghost. And those are kind of weird footprints because it's not a set. It's not one next to another. It's like one, then one, then one, then one. It's weird. But somebody tell me how this kid left prints. I might actually look that up after this video. After I'm done recording this, I'm probably going to Google how a ghost can leave prints. Because that's weird as fuck. He had to have, I know how ghosts can, go through walls, apparently, and if I'm not mistaken by this horror movie shit, because once again, I said I'm not a math teacher, so I really don't know how this ghost shit works. But I do believe that this so-called ghost is able to, move through walls and objects. So, it's a little strange. I don't know why you were able to see his footprints, but that's creepy, nonetheless. I think that last one might have been the best one. But anyways, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys did enjoy the reaction. If I should react to more of these horror stories, then definitely let me know in the comments, because this is actually the first time I've reacted to one of these. And I was actually recently recommended this, so I just wanted to check it out. But definitely let me know if I should react to more. And make sure you guys like, subscribe, hit that post notification bell, as I said. And catch you guys in the next one. Peace.